Hello, friends, and welcome back right here to It Stinks. Hope you had a great holiday season, had a good time eating all the pumpkin pie, banana pudding, Thanksgiving turkey. It's Thursday, so right now it's been a week since Thanksgiving. You should be Thanksgiving out. I told the family if I see any other turkey, any of this stuff, I would just pretty much lose my mind because I had so much of it. But we had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you and your family, you and yours, had a great Thanksgiving yourself. A lot of shows wrapped up right before the Thanksgiving holiday. We're going to jump in the time machine, fly back to Chicago, talk about those three impeccable episodes of Chicago right on It Stinks this week. Hit the theme music. Let's go.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
It stinks.
Welcome back, friends. As you can see, I got the Grit and Grind shirt on today. Just coming back from a good visit up there in the Piedmont area of North Carolina. Had a good chance to talk to some good friends up there at the high school athletic associations. They're having their winter meeting. So, having a media pass and being the media, I wanted to drop in, see what was going on with high school sports as we proceed into the winter parts over here in the Carolinas. A lot of good things were brought up today in the meet. Enjoyed my time there. I also enjoyed the impeccable lunch that they provided for all of the media today. So good times hanging out with some good friends, old friends that I don't mainly get a chance to see that much. But at the state championship games, a lot of people you get to see from different networks, from Spectrum, from WITN, WRAL, all these news outlets. My guys from Clinton, I get to see that. I don't get to see that much. It was good just to go back, see some old friends. So I told them after I left there, I had to fly back down to my part, the eastern part of the Carolinas, jump on in, get ready for It Stinks right here in the morning time. So I am back live better than ever, ready to talk about some Chicago. Hand clap to Dick Wolf and the Chicago franchise for wrapping up three good episodes on three seasons that's been good, but been building up for this season early finale to get us back to January. Because, of course, Chicago wraps up in November before Thanksgiving, takes a month break, comes back the first week of January. Sometimes they don't want to give you that first Wednesday of January. They make you wait till the second week. But right now, the target is expected to be back on the first week of January, bringing in the new year and bringing in the new year with the Chicago franchise. And it was a great season this season. As I told you, this season told a lot of back-end stories to get us to the early season finale night on Chicago. Let's go to Med first. Med, a lot of people watch Chicago Med, and they watch it because it leads up to Chicago Fire, that lead to Chicago PD. So they say, hey, I'm going to turn the TV to NBC at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to let that one run. Then 9, I'm going to watch Fire. Then 10, I'm going to watch PD. 11 o'clock, I'm going to sleep, getting ready for work the next day. A lot of people I talk with are not big fans of Med. But to me, Med now is starting to be the second leg of the three-headed monster horse. PD is always going to be number one. Fire was always number 2. But can we say, since Casey's left, Matt Severon's just doing, Severon's kind of off and on. 3 episodes he's on, 2 he's off, 4 he's on, 1 he's off. Can we start to say that now Fire is starting to become that third show? Even to the point where I would tell NBC to make Fire the 8 o'clock show now, Med to 9, and continue your 10 o'clock with PD. To me, Med now is having better storylines, having better acting for as Med was always the forgotten show. We get you started because you wanted fire because you got the action of being in the fire department. They're putting out fires. It's nothing like seeing a fire show with firefighters putting out fires, saving lives, helping somebody who's hanging off a bridge. That's why we enjoy that stuff. That's why we see our local fire departments doing those type of rescues. We, as people, pull over to watch it because to us, it's amazing to see them saving people's lives. That's why fire was so good. And everybody I used to talk to, and I talk with now, say that fire was their favorite show because you had the action. But fire now is starting to fall, to me, as the number 3 show. Just because the acting is good, without Matt Casey there, you're like, okay, he was the guy that made you want to watch it because he was the brains of the operation. Then you had Severite, who was kind of like that hero that everybody wanted to be. He's the guy on the show that you be like, this is who I want to be. If I'm a firefighter, I'm Severite. I'm Kelly Severite. I'm the one dived into action. I'm Matt Casey. I'm the brains of the operation. I'm putting together the plan. You know, you had Ritter. Everybody liked Ritter. Well, Ritter's still up there. Y'all, you had so many people that everybody liked that now they're going through. And now it gets to the point. No, Gallows, that's what I was thinking about. Gallows, he was the daredevil, the wild card that everybody liked. You know, he was the one that when Severide wasn't doing the high risk, high reward, it was Gallows. But now it's starting to kind of feel like it's all right. Good show. Continue watching it, but it could get better. So lead us down to Med. And Med told a good backing story on this episode. They flash back to an episode maybe earlier in the season. That was one of those ones that I always call the pass-through episode. It's just an episode of Med. A good episode, but you get indulged in the other storyline. And it was one of the ones where we were indulged with Mrs. Goodwin's ex-husband of making sure that he got the proper help he needed with what he had going on with his memory loss. But you got caught up into that vortex. You also got caught up in the vortex of the doctor's friend who beat up Dr. Charles's girlfriend's brother, and that court case was going on. You got caught up in those two vortexes. That was the episode that also you had the hospital that was down the street that was closing up. So now patients were coming to Gaffney for services, for medical services. You got caught up in that vortex. And then they had a national vortex on top of that. It was budget season. So Miss Goodwin was cutting back on a lot of things because the hospital did not have the proper funding to operate as it normally has. So you had 4 or 5 stories going on. Miss Goodwin in that episode decided to go help out in the ER, to go down in the ED, help out in the ER in the emergency room. She used to be a nurse before she was the president of medical staff, overseeing the day-to-day operation of the hospital. She suits back up. She has a young lady come in with her wife. The young lady wants her to save her wife's life. Miss Goodwin has to make a decision. They only have one more thing of blood. Do you give it to this lady who you pretty much can see is on her way out the door, or do you give it to another patient? Well, of course, Miss Goodwin gave it to the other patient. The patient she gave it to ended up dying too. The patient that was on her way out the door ended up dying because she did not get the blood transfusion. Tough decision. Wouldn't want to have to make that decision. That's why I don't work in the medical field. Don't want that type of drama, type of pressure in my life, having to make a life or death decision like that. So the show ends. Miss Goodwin kind of standing there in a turmoil. We don't know what's going on. But it leads us back to this episode because Miss Goodwin has been getting letters, threatening letters, that she thinks is coming from a disgruntled employee that she had to lay off. She has somebody break into her house. We thought it was that disgruntled employee that she laid off. Found out it was not the disgruntled employee. It was the young lady. And they start the episode off with her sitting in the car, watching Miss Goodwin. Miss Goodwin is getting ready to go home, call it a night. Out of all the nights, she leaves something in the office, goes back to get it. The young lady's in her office rambling around. She has a knife. Her and Miss Goodwin have a talk. She tells Miss Goodwin, you could have picked my wife. You didn't have to choose the other person. Miss Goodwin said, I had to make a medical decision. That's a part of the game. It's part of life. That's why I signed up to do this job. I had to look at both patients to figure out which one I could save at a better chance. Lady don't want to hear that. That's her wife. She don't want to hear that. You can save my wife. Why you pick this person? And Dick Wolf does good with telling those stories in his shows of where you got two choices to make. You know, kind of remind me of the poem that Robert Frost wrote. Two roads diverge down and one path. Sorry, I cannot travel them both. That was it right there. Two roads diverging down one path. Sorry, Miss Goodwin could not choose both. She had to choose one. Child English back in the days. But she makes the wrong choice. And so now this lady's disgruntled. She's mad. Her Miss Goodwin, I'm thinking that this was not going to go south. Miss Goodwin was trying to defend herself. She stabs Miss Goodwin on accident. I don't think she meant to stab her. I think she was just going there to scare her. Of course, Miss Goodwin goes through a long procedure. Blood sugar's dropping. All this going on. She said her husband's going to call. Well, not husband, boyfriend Kevin's going to call. He's going to know what's going on, why she's not down at the house yet. Somebody's going to come up to the room, to the office looking for her. She's telling this girl all these things, thinking this girl will either leave so Miss Goodwin can get down to the ER and try to save herself and stuff like that. And I got worried. I said, they're not going to kill Miss Goodwin. They're not going to kill Miss Goodwin. They can't kill Miss Goodwin. She's one of the last original ones besides Maggie and Dr. Charles that is still on the show. All the originals have left now with a new cast. And Dean is not an original one, but you want to say Dean's original because you feel like even though he came on about 6-7 seasons ago, that he's been around. You know, he plays that role, he's been around. So Dean is going through his storyline on the show. Dean has been demoted as chief of medical and emergency department medical staff. He's been demoted back to a regular doctor. Dean is the type of person, he's very prideful. He can be a butt to many people. They don't like him. Keep it PG. But to a lot of people, he comes off that way. He's very arrogant. I like Dean. I think Dean's probably one of the best actors on the show. I like his character. I like his character development. He's very snobby. And he's snobby because he knows what he's doing. There's a difference between being snobby and not knowing your job, and being snobby and being very thorough with your job. I tend to appreciate people who can come off very sarcastic and very snobby, but are the expert in the room on a particular subject. Those are people I can kind of gravitate to. I like them when I'm around them in circles because it's different being snobby and you're not knowing what you're talking about. But when you can be the expert on a problem, the expert in the room when we have a solution that needs to be solved, and you can come off to a lot of people snobby, I won't say they're snobby. This is a person who knows what they're doing. They know their work and they know their value. To me, that's what Dean was on the show. That's the way he portrayed his role as Dr. Dean Archer. Dean's debating because he wants to resign. Him and Hannah have a very good moment. And that's one thing I liked about the past 3 seasons they've done, especially these last 2 with Dean. Whenever he was in trouble, he could always find a way to, Hannah always found a way to get it out of Dean. And they did very good building that relationship with those two. They break the wishbone. Dean didn't come to the Thanksgiving and Friendsgiving at the hospital that they had right there in the break room for all the employees. They break the wishbone. She says, Dean, if I get the bigger side of the bone, you resign. No, you wait. You think about it. Then you resign. If you get the bigger side of the wishbone, you resign. Of course, she got the bigger side of the wishbone. She said, go home tonight. Think about it. If you feel like you need to do that, resign the next day. Dean goes upstairs. He's tossing and turning. Don't know what he's going to do. You felt like that this was going to be the point that he walked in and found Miss Goodwin laying on the floor with the lady who had stabbed her in the room. And Miss Goodwin and this woman are having a good conversation. Now, Miss Goodwin the woman did get upset because Miss Goodwin did try to stick her phone that she hid under the couch, try to make a call, some other things. But, you know, she's still having a good conversation with her. Miss Goodwin told her, I'm at peace. I've done everything I wanted to do in life. I've been in love. I love people. Treat everybody right. Did the things I was supposed to do. Follow all the rules that I had to follow as a medical nurse. Did everything I need to do to follow all the rules as a medical chief of staff for the hospital. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go. And I really thought like, oh man, they're gonna kill Miss Goodwin. She's gonna leave. Dean debates sliding the letter of his resignation under the door. Finally, When he does it, the lady gets up because she hears Dean rambling on the doorknob. She gets up. Miss Goodwin takes a base, hits the lady on the side of the head. Miss Goodwin gets out of the room, out of her office, gets to the main door there because they have a glass door in front of the elevator. Dean's walking to the elevator. She hits the door, she hits the wall. Dean turns around. He's on the elevator. He's turning around. He's getting ready to go down. And what does he see? The lady with the knife getting ready to stab Miss Goodwin again right in front of his face. And they fade to black with the credits coming on. Perfect way to end this season. Perfect way to go back to an episode that was a filler, tie it back up, and make a great story, making us count down to January. I'm counting down to January because I want to find out, is Miss Goodwin going to die? Is Dean going to see her die? Is Dean going to be able to get off the elevator to save her? So many questions now, and that's what you want with good story writing for a TV show. You want those cliffhangers. Very good episode of Chicago Man. Very impressed with that one. Way to go back and tie one together from an episode that was, like I said, it was a filler. It was a filler episode. Then we had Chicago Fire. And watching the promo caption of this show, the recall, Severite wasn't in the recall. And I said, oh man, here's the episode without our guy Severite. It's going to be a bad one because, I'm going to be honest with you. Lieutenant Kidd, I don't like her character. She's a great actress, very good actress. But I just feel like her character on Chicago Fire is the lieutenant that wants everybody to respect her and wants more for her than what she's putting out to her crew. So I don't like her character. That's one character that, if she got hurt in the fire and had to take off a couple episodes to recover, hey, wouldn't be mad at all. Bring back Pelican. Hey, anybody can bring back. Bring back Gallows, anybody. Bring back Matt Casey. But wouldn't be upset. But when we saw that, I said, no, Severite. They do a good at the beginning talking about Severite is gone to investigate another fire inspection. Everybody knows he doesn't play fire inspector cowboy. That's his thing. He's going to do that. So you're not going to see him. And the show starts with Joe looking in his locker. And in his locker, he finds a bullet. First thing you think was Captain Tony. Did you guys do this, Captain Tony? No, we didn't do it. Come on, Joe. Why would we do that? Tony says, maybe we're one of the guys from the morning shift. Joe blows it off, goes away. Really thought it was Captain Tony because, it was good to open up the episode with Joe, Captain Tony all in the locker room because even with them saying no, your mind already goes to, how Cap and Tony are portrayed on this show. They're the pranksters. They're the jokesters of the show. They do these little things. You can't say, man, Cap and Tony did this. They're messing with Joe. They're messing with Joe. Show continues to build on. The chief, Pascal, doing good. Pascal is working very good with the EMR ladies, the ladies on the EMS truck. It's working with them, helping them stay straight. And things continue to build on. You got Mouch and Herman preparing to take this test. Herman's finally going to take this test and try to get his next level. He's going to try to get his captain. He's a lieutenant. He'll try to get his captain. Mouch is finally going to try to get his lieutenant. Mouch can't move up until Herman moves up. Herman has to take this test now so he can take the chief test next. Mouch has been pushing him along. As we know, Herman's been rebelling on this. So a lot's been going on in the firehouse in 51. But then once again, Joe finds another bullet. Captain Tony, once again, it was another good crescendo, another good scene of all of them together outside doing some drills. Joe finds another bullet, this time on his rearview mirror. Not on his rearview mirror, on his outside passenger mirror, on the string. Joe's freaking out again. Hey, Captain Tony, y'all playing? Are y'all pulling my leg, or you guys pull around? And Joe's accent is so funny. He's so Chicago. You pulling my leg? You guys pranking me? You trying to punk me or something? Captain Tony say, no, Joe, we don't know what you're talking about. We've been doing these drills with you all day, Joe. What are you talking about, Joe? So Joe, once again, tries to figure out. So this time now, Joe's getting paranoid. He's getting very paranoid. And this was a good recall because this was an episode that happened several seasons ago. That they ended it perfect, and we get to the ending. Joe now goes to the lady in the corner office at Gaffney. He says, I found this at a yard sale and I bought it. Don't know why I bought it. Just want you to tell me what's in it. Well, the lady gets the ashes out. She said, these are the ashes of what will be a human being. So this is what it's called. It has a human being ashes in it. It's kind of like a little urn, what they call a little urn. Just, wow, cool. I bought this at a yard sale up here and didn't know what I was buying. Just thought it was a real cool object, cool gadget. Had to have it, plays it off. Joe starts to think, what could this be? Joe then goes back to work and gets a visit from a cop who tells Joe a guy who Joe's could not save his dad in a fire was locked up is now out of jail. It may not be safe for you, Joe. You may just want to kind of watch your back, watch over yourself, watch your family. Make sure you know where by yourself. Make sure your guys are around a group of people. And it plays back to that episode when the guy was burning up. And the guy's son saw Joe not be able to save him. Joe tried to do everything he could do with his power, just could not save him. And the show ends with Joe going to church. He's in the Catholic Church. He's doing Mass. He's praying in Mass. He's talking to the Father. He's telling the Father what's going on. Joe gets up, walks out, and who does he bump into? The guy whose son just got out of jail, who they told Joe was free and you need to watch your back. And he tells Joe, we need to have a talk. And they fade to black. Another good episode of Fire. Not as strong as I thought it would be. I really thought that Fire they would have kept building because you had Pascal in the sheriff department heading on a crash course where it ended up them in the previous episode seizing all of this stolen goods and stuff from a sheriff and all the stuff he had bought from people that he had stole from him. So you really thought that's where it would have continued on to build off of that, to kind of go back to that fire department versus sheriff department battle that they had several years ago. They did it with the PD where the fire department was going against Hank Voight and they ended up getting Hank Voight locked up for a few days. I really thought that's where we were going, but they did good to kind of blindside us and hit us with a new storyline going into next season. So another good episode right here of Chicago Fire. And now it was time for the main event of Wednesday night, not Friday. Think about football. Wednesday night, Chicago PD. Chicago PD has been on fire, as always, every episode. There's no letdown. This is one of the shows that Dick Wolf writes. He builds, he builds, he builds. He gets you to that season finale cliffhanger. He drops you down the roller coaster, puts your feet to the floor, and then picks you back up in January, right back like nothing's been going on. Then he follows back to this episode 4 or 5 later to pick you right back up. Very good one. As we know, last season, Dante Torres went undercover to bring down a drug boss in Chicago. He ended up working his way in through his wife. Him and his wife ended up becoming lovers. Dante does the one thing you're never supposed to do. He slept with his CI. That's the golden rules of being a police officer. Never sleep with your CI. He done that. Him and this lady fall in love. She's falling in love with Dante. Dante's falling in love with her. Now, her husband's locked up. She's in witness protection. Dante's gone his life. She's gone his life. But now they're starting to find out that drugs are being shipped in through a restaurant, through a person who owns the restaurant. The girl Dante was a CI. Dante's already been made. He cannot get back in. Dante looks her up, goes by her house, just say, hey, I was in the neighborhood, knew you were living here. Want to check on you. See how you doing. What's going on? See everything going on. Good to see you, Dante. That sparked something. Dante then sends the new person on the team in an undercover mission to find out if they really are having drugs pass through the restaurant. They find out they do and find out she's very heavily involved with it. Dante did not offer any advice, him nor Kim Burgess, to the new person on the task force that guess what? We knew Dante was in love with her. As they continue building on, she's working her way in. She's building her case. She's getting stronger and stronger. Finally, they asked her to go on a ride to pick up something with them. to kind of be some extra muscle. She slips up and says something that throws a red flag up because Dante told her she never takes the same route home. She always goes a different way home just in case somebody's following her. So she slipped up and said, yeah, like never going home the same way, to take the same route twice. That raises a red flag. She said, are you intelligence? Are you a cop? I used to be in love with a cop, Dante Torres. And the only thing about it was I never knew when they were listening. I could never tell them how I really felt because I never knew who was on the other side of him listening. Kim pulls the feed right there. Hank pulls the feed. But all of this went through the feed before Kim pulled it. So now Dante's secret has been pretty much exposed to the whole intelligence department. And now we see the big brawl start right here with our main character, Dante. He's our main character on this episode. Because now when they get back, Kim knew her husband, Adam Rosette, says, so how long are you going to just cover for him? Well, I was just doing what anybody else would do. He tells Dante, you need to get yourself together because not only can you get yourself fired, but now you got my wife involved. She can be fired. She just made detective. She can be fired. Nobody wants to hear from Dante, but Hank Voice says, hey, we'll fix it. Things continue to build up to finally they go do a drug drop. She's got one set up. They feel like it is a sting operation. The guy backs off. Everybody goes dark. They find all the stuff out. Because this is after they find out that the girl was made. Everybody goes dark. And the thing about it lets you know that when they found out she was made, she could have killed her right there on the spot. She dumps off 3 streets out and make her get out of the car. So it lets you know that she still had those feelings for Dante not to kill one of his intelligence co-workers. As the show continues, builds up, everybody's going dark. They can't do nothing. They're trying to figure out this big shipment of drugs out there. There's a lot of money out there. Boyd's got a lot riding on this. His neck is on the chop block. He's already in hot water because you got internal affairs, those people who've been coming down, checking on Boyd from different departments. Like, hey, you got this guy from the first episode who told Boyd, I'm from this department. I'm just checking in. He started checking on a more frequent basis. So as the show continues to build on, now they finally get her to set up an operation. They do operation. She takes a bullet for Dante and she dies right there. You see Dante go on an emotional roller coaster and you felt sad because you really didn't want her to die. I really thought this would be a good way to kind of put her back in witness protection somewhere else, but she had to die because, Dante, the thing is with Chicago, when an officer has some dead weight, in order for them to move on to the next phase of life, they got to cut the dead weight. You saw this with Atwood when he got with a girl who was involved with robbery. They had to send her to jail, cut the dead weight. You saw this with Rosette when he went undercover. And he got 2 involved. They ended up having to shoot the guy and kill the guy. And do it right in front of his 12-year-old grandson, who's now there building up to be the next person as a true mastermind crime person on PD with his character. So all this stuff builds up. And that's what I like about Dick Wolf. It builds up where these characters either die off or either passes on to another person to take that role. So she's there. She takes a bullet for Dante. They get into a gun shootout over there. Everything's goes good. She finds out that the drugs were fake and that they were coming to hustle her. That's why she said the kind of gave that red flag to Dante. Something was right because they took the money but only had 2 buckets of drugs. The rest were empty buckets. So they were coming to kill her, steal the money, and keep the drugs. PD rushes in, get into a gunfight. Like we said, she takes the bullet for Dante. They get her to shoot Dante. She jumps in front of him. You don't think she's going to die, but she ends up dying. Dante goes on that emotional roller coaster right there, trying to revive her, bring her back to life. It's nothing he can do. And then the show kind of, you think that's the end. This is it. Okay, get ready for next season. Voight's in his office. Who comes to pay him a visit? The guy from Internal Affairs. He says, so, Officer Dante Torres slept with his CI. Voight said, yeah. He said, but what are you here for? Because you here for that. Well, I can fire him. He cuts the voice out. I can fire him. He said, well, I'm going to ask you again. What are you here for? Because if you're here for that, you have the paperwork in your hand. He tells what? I'm here to be a friend. And the show ends like that. Once again, our favorite actor, our favorite star, Hank Boyd, has sold himself to another unit to do their bidding, because the one thing about PD that we all like Hank Boyd is he's going to do whatever he has to do to protect his team. If that means selling his soul to another police department division to do their dirty work and their bidding, he will do that to protect his men and women on the intelligence team. Another good episode right there, PD. I cannot wait for January to get here so we can see him. As Goodwin dies on med. If Severide comes back on fire, did Mouch and Herman pass the test? Is Herman a captain? Is Mouch a lieutenant? And what type of deal did Voight have to make to protect Dante Torres and Detective Kim Burks from being fired from the PD with an internal affairs investigation? Great 3 episodes, Chicago. Holiday season is upon us. So many Christmas movies out there. We'll be talking about the classic ones over the next couple weeks right here. Then there's no TV on right now. All the shows pretty much have concluded with season finales. So we'll just be talking about holiday movies on the next couple episodes of It Stinks, of what we watch, what's new, doing some old ones, some favorite ones, all of that stuff right here on It Stinks. Thank you for watching It Stinks, and don't forget, have a happy and safe holiday. Did you like that video? If so, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so every time we go live or video drops on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel, that's right, you can get a notification to your smartphone device or other device letting you know that we're live or videos being dropped. And why would you not subscribe? We have everything you need. We got basketball, NFL, college basketball, baseball, wrestling, TV show removes. We go live after every premium live event or after every wrestling show right here on the Boom Broadcasting. We got it all, everything you need. Live talk, podcast talk. We can do it right here on the Boom Broadcasting. So it's the holidays. Don't be an Uncle Scrooge. Hit that subscribe button so me and little Lucas' plan can start of taking over your Boom Broadcasting network. Shh, you weren't supposed to hear that. Like, subscribe to that video.